Now, capacity building is a key ingredient in the development of the investment management profession and the creation of investment products as Nigeria continues to attract global portfolio flows. Joining me to discuss capacity building in the investment management industry and the broader financial markets is Nitin Mehta. He is the Managing Director, CFA Institute for the EMEA region, and Shade Rada Odunaya, the President of the CFA Society in Nigeria. They both join me in the studio. Thank you so much. Thank you both for joining us today. And Shade, I want to start with you. And the CFA program is something that I think is a lot more popular these days, and the reasons are not far-fetched. There's a need to build capacity in the investment management industry in Nigeria. Well, can you just talk us through how that has developed recently and how much interest we're seeing specifically, and how many people, for instance, are being certified at this time? Yeah.
Basically, the CFA designation in Nigeria is just beginning to gain grounds. It's a designation that is recognized globally as a standard for the investment management profession, just like English language is the business language of the world. And it's a curriculum that takes you through all the rudiments and fundamentals of what you need in order to be able to manage investments properly on behalf of clients, and to be able to also interact effectively in terms of with regulators and the market itself. So the curriculum is very broad-based. It starts from teaching you basics of economics to asset management, financial analysis, valuation of assets, portfolio management principles, and all that is required in being able to select what kind of investments should fit a particular portfolio given the investment objectives that have been set by your client. Right,
and how many CFA professionals do we have in Nigeria now?
Currently, we have about 100 members that are CFA Society of Nigeria members, of which about 98% of them are CFA charter holders. Right. In this last 1 year, we have about 23 people that just got their charter. So it's fast gaining grounds. And more importantly, we have a lot of Nigerians that actually live outside Nigeria that are joining the CFA Society in Nigeria now because they're hoping to come back to contribute their own skill and expertise to the development of the market here.
Right. Nitin, I want to get your thoughts about the importance of that, the development of professionals. I imagine that I was speaking to somebody recently and they mentioned that as many as 1,000 CFA holders are in South Africa, for instance, and we know how developed that market is in terms of the investment management industry. So talk to us about this development and what you think it will mean for the investment management industry here.
Mm-hmm. Shade mentioned the 100 charter holders that we have here in Nigeria. In fact, we have another 1,000 who are candidates for the CFA program and are aspiring to become charter holders, and aspiring also to join the global community of 100,000 members and charter holders around the world. In terms of what the program and the charter provides, it really educates investment professionals to have competence in finance, and also it builds character through the ethical training that we provide as well. If Nigeria has an ambition for fast economic growth, then it will need healthy and productive financial markets, and the only way of having efficient markets is actually practitioners who understand how financial markets and financial products work as well. So the CFA program and the charter provides that education, both in competence and in ethics.
Right. How do you see things evolving in terms of the interest? You just mentioned that over 1,000 people are looking to aspiring to get the charter in Nigeria. So I guess that's heartwarming. But how do you see things evolving in the industry going forward?
What I see happening is that as we begin to continue to reform our environment in Nigeria, we will see more and more people trying to get the CFA designation, because Nigeria is not an island on itself. It has to integrate with the global market. And therefore, having a qualification that you don't need to explain what is behind it to the global world just makes it easy. When someone is coming to invest in Nigeria, he would want to talk to someone whose ethical standing and competency base he can already certify by that designation. So I see it growing. I see the numbers that we have rising rapidly. Interestingly, we've doubled the numbers since last year. When the association was approved last year, August, we were just about 52 CFA charter holders. And today we're about 100. Right. So it's a quick
what has been the impact, though? We know we've seen, for instance, pension reforms in Nigeria, and many people point to capacity issues there, for instance. What has been the impact of the rising interest in the CFA program in Nigeria?
Well, I wouldn't say there's been any direct impact now. Now that we have a society here, we're going to begin to do a lot of advocacy work. We've already made contact with the pension operators, PENCOM, And we're working with them. Want to work with NSE as well and SEC to bring in global standards with respect to the code of ethics, asset manager code of ethics, pension trustee code. There's so many things that are out there. Investors' rights. For instance, we've talked to NSE about helping them out with investor education they have embarked upon. And these are the ways by which we will make immediate impact in the environment that we're in. Right. So we intend to work actively with the regulators.
Right, and Nitin, and from your experience across the world, what is the impact when the market embraces these highest standards?
I think what happens is standards go up. Standards of both ethics and the financial knowledge that's required to be a very productive investment professional. That's what happens. And I expect the same will be true in Nigeria as well. We're in very early days, but I think what should happen is that the standards of investment management, of actually personal professional conduct, will start to match that of the rest of the world. It will help to regain the trust, perhaps, that has been eroded in the recent crisis as well.
Do you get the sense that these high standards would attract a certain quality of portfolio flows? For instance, we know Nigeria is an emerging frontier market in Africa, and perhaps given the level of development right now, there might be some investors who will say this market is not sophisticated enough for us, for instance. Mm-hmm. Do you get that sense?
Yes, certainly. I think higher standards and higher levels of trust will certainly attract more investors, both from within Nigeria and from outside. That should reduce the cost of capital and therefore fuel economic growth even further. So it should be a great benefit to Nigeria.